Recording in progress. We are live. We need an on-air, like I need to get an on-air neon sign. That's what I need to have. That's what I want. I want this to be like on air, that it blinks and stuff like that. That'd be really cool. Welcome everybody to today's Lunch and Learn. I'll be your host. Whether fortunately or unfortunately, I'll let you decide that for the next, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So if you have any questions, feel free to bring them up and I will answer them to the best of my ability. All right. So with that being said, we have a pre-submitted question by Mantle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read that question and try to answer it. And I'll also allow you to speak, Mantle. So the question is, it says, hello, I'm having issues where I have multiple checkboxes that rely on other checkboxes. Okay, not sure what that means. And when I make a selection, they show the main form, but once submit, they selected checkboxes don't show on the approval form view. I'm gonna allow you to talk, Mantle. Could you give me some more detail on what you mean by that?
Hello, Jared.
Hey,
Can you hear me okay?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So,
can.
sorry, I didn't have a lot of space to type in, so I just had to put a really concise question.
Oh, you're
But I
fine.
have like on the section A, for example, 5 checkboxes, like for example, checkbox A, B, C, D, E. And then I have a
Mm-hmm.
section B where I have like checkboxes, checkbox white, blue, purple, green. It's like checkbox A. If you select checkbox A, then it selects like checkbox white. And then if you select checkbox green, I mean checkbox
Mm-hmm.
B, it also selects checkbox white. You see what I
Okay,
mean? Like they
sure.
rely, section B is dependent on section A.
Mm-hmm.
And I created a bunch of like active data flows where if you select this checkbox, then make sure that this checkbox is selected. But when I go on like a next form, for example, once they submit it and on the approval form, there's a separate approval form. They just
Mm-hmm.
the section A, whichever you selected has checkbox. I mean, whatever you selected on those checkboxes shows up, but not
Mm-hmm.
the ones that were supposed to auto-populate by selecting whatever you selected in section A. I don't know if that's confusing.
I think I'm following. So what I'm gonna do, let's kind of I'm gonna build this real quick. I think this will be a fun thing to
Mhm.
build. I already built my folder scaffolding for checkbox fun. So we're gonna build a form and you can tell me if I'm on the right track. So this is going to be my checkbox form. If I can spell. So you're using, so is it just a checkbox?
Yes, just a regular
Just
checkbox.
one, not a
Mhm.
checkbox list.
No.
Okay, so you have, so basically, so you have like what, a series? So this is like, I will say this is checkbox A, and I'll do shift enter, get a label. So I got checkbox A, right? I get checkbox B, right? And then we'll do, sure, that, and we'll do checkbox C, checkbox C, and we'll do a shift enter. And so from what I'm understanding, let me grab a button so it's not yelling at me all the time. So now, basically I have, let's say I have checkbox, checkbox. Let's say this is blue, and then we're gonna have another checkbox, and we'll say this is checkbox. What is it? Yellow, and then we'll do checkbox. We'll just do the primary colors for right now. And we got checkbox red. Boom! I did not smash the right thing. Here we go. All right. So now, so how I'm understanding this is I build an active form flow. Checkbox A will light up blue. Checkbox B will light up yellow. Checkbox C will light up red, right?
No. So for example, if you select checkbox A,
Okay.
checkbox blue can be selected, but
Can't
then
or can be.
can. It it should be like
Okay.
selected. It should be
So it's just
selected.
turned it so it's enabled.
No, like it should be selected. Like there should be a check
Right, right.
mark
So
on it.
right, right. So if I click A, right,
Hmm.
then this one will also be, right?
Yes. And then if
And
you
if
do checkbox B, then it should
B
also do the B.
yellow.
And it should also do blue and yellow.
Oh, and if I do C, it's all of them.
If you do C, it might be a or it might be blue and red. So
Oh, okay. So let's
yes,
build
it's
this
kind
out
of
real quick.
confusing. One checkbox. controls
1 to 1, 2 to
mhm.
2, and then C is like A, and I'm following. I'm following.
Okay,
Okay, so
sorry.
no, you're fine. Hey, that's your use case. Let's see if I can build it. So I'm gonna build a rule. Yeah, let's build a rule. Here we all use truth table. We'll do a truth table, I think. So we're gonna create this truth table, and we'll say this is, I'm gonna call this, my checkbox match truths. I mean, you could do it that way. We could do string. I'm not gonna do it this way. Here's what we're gonna do. I don't want to create an extra designer element. Let's go back to forms. I'm just gonna create the active form flow real quick, and we're gonna say match the appropriate match. We'll just call it match. Just match. If I can spell it well. Just match. And this one will run on this value change, and this value change. We'll edit this rule, and then we'll say string match. And then what I'll do is I'll say possible matches are, what did I say, checkbox? Actually, I have to do it the other way. Do I? Yeah, I do. Well, we'll just do one set. How's this? We're just gonna do one set. I only need one set to work. So if I click on this string match step, we're gonna say that, hey, if the form control is checkbox A, checkbox B, checkbox C, and we're gonna do form data. Actually, I'm gonna go for the trigger control, trigger component name. That's what we're gonna use. So the trigger component is any one of those things. We're just gonna add create data steps. I'm sure this is not how you have your setup. I'm just creating the use case. And so we'll do bool val. We'll say that this is Boolean, right? And then what I'll do is I will copy this and say this is we'll say this is bool val 1, and this is bool val 2. Boolean here, save. And we're just gonna do these two. I don't think we need to do the rest. And we'll just see, checkbox C will just go here. If there's no matches, then it just goes to the end and nothing will happen. And then what we'll do here, this will be set to true, and we shall output, we'll put this here, and we will output all of this stuff, form data. And so this would be if bool val, so this is the second path. So this, we'll say this is A and B. A and B have to be changed to true. And checkbox A. No, not checkbox A. That's the form control data. We want checkbox blue. That's right. Checkbox blue value, and then we want checkbox yellow, because that's the second one, value. And click OK. And then over here, we'll just set that it's blue. And I think this should be true. Yeah, it is true. True. Form data, and this one will just be checkbox blue. Checkbox blue, and we'll change the value of that. Okay, cool. So let's see if this little example works. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, save. Boom, boom. Go to my flows. We'll say test mantle flow. Boom. And we'll do the show form step right here. We'll go right here, pick this, pick existing. And so now let's debug this and let's see what we got. So that didn't do anything because there's no match. Oh, I called it checkbox A. What did I call it? I think I gave the wrong thing. Oh, that's the why. Okay, so I actually just got to update my my names for my controls. No worries. Let me remove this as the name. I don't want that. And we'll remove this. Boom. And we'll remove this. So now it's all the same. Let me check my active form flow. Boom, boom. And I'm saying, I called, okay, good. I said checkbox A. Awesome. So now it should work, or we should get something. So now I'm going to debug. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I know what happened. Silly me. Active form flow, trigger change now. So I have to go to active form flow and yeah, trigger, because I changed the name. Alrighty, now we're cooking. Okay, now I think we're cooking. All right, start debug, boom. Okay, that ran. No match. It's I think I did not add the space. It's always the little things that get me. Spaces. All right, I'll add the space. Fine. We'll add the space. Let's see. Add the space. Add the space. This one's space. Doubled spaced. All right, we got the space here. Okay, now save. I gotta change the trigger for these two. Click OK.
Jared, do you have
Save.
to add a space in the data names too, or that doesn't matter?
No, the reason why I have to do it is because I'm using the trigger name. Just for my own test case, I kind of mimic yours. And so that's why, since I'm using a string match step, the casing has to be exact.
Got it.
If I did like other rules, it wouldn't be as strict. But since my test is this way, it's very critical.
Got it.
It's unforgiving. Hey, look at that. Okay, cool. So now you're exact. Ooh, look at that. Cool. Now, obviously, it's going to stay checked because I don't have the opposite logic. But this is good enough. All right. So now what you're saying, I make this an assignment, and then I view the assignment in like a data structure, and it doesn't have the checkboxes, right?
So where it's happening, it's like, for example, like once you have that form, then you have a next form, which is like an assignment. So copy of that form will be an assignment,
Correct.
and it doesn't show like checked. So for example, you did check box A, it should have showed up on the next form.
Test assignment. And I'm gonna say, do it. Okay, cool. And then we'll pick that same form. Change value is the only input set up. All the inputs are set up correctly. Boom. Okay, cool. Now, all right. So now if I do this, I will do that one. I show up here. Okay. Let me run this flow because that's not a good way to test this. Close this. Run. We'll do A. Boom. Now it goes to the assignment. I'm going to say no because I want to test this out. I'm going to go back to my inbox. I have test assignment. I'm going to do it now. I got the blue. We'll click on this. I'm going to do this. This. Sure. Yeah, I know that one. That flow's done. No, just close this one. Yeah, so what I thought you were saying is that if I view this now and like review the completed form, that's the part where it doesn't show, right?
Yes, it also doesn't
Okay.
show on that one too.
Okay. Because I didn't get that behavior. So when I ran it, it looked like, so if I do checkbox B and I run this, no, I go to the inbox and it looks like I got both those controls. It could be a mapping issue. That's what that sounds like. If it's not appearing here. So I would double check that because when you output all of that data, you just have to make sure it gets passed through to the next form or to wherever you're storing it. And then the add task pulls that data and then it'll represent what you have. Now for the view completed, that could be a different thing. That could be a bug. I can create a really quick test to test that out. Because I'll create a flow execution extension. Let's see. And the reason why I'm creating a flow execution extension is I want to have some type of data structure that can associate the assignment to that record. So we'll say this is test fee, test checkbox fee of $12. No, just kidding. All right, and so we're going to say this is prop 1. We'll say prop 2, and we'll just leave it at that. And actually, we're going to do this. I'm going to say this is checkbox A. And this is check B. And this is check C. And this was it check blue? Check blue. Check yellow. And then check red. All right, so now I'm just gonna make all these booleans. Boolean. 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 All right, cool. Now they're all booleans, so we're gonna say, oop. Actually, no, that's fine. I don't need this. No. Test. I'm gonna delete this one. I don't need it. All right. So now we got that one. And so now what I'm going to do is let's create that. And so I'm just going to create a quick report just so I can view it. Okay, so now create report. This is all just set up test report over check boxes. I'm gonna grab my flow data extension, checkbox V, and we're just gonna grab all the checkbox A, B, yellow, red. C, sure, we got all checkbox blue, sure. Yeah, well, let's just get the entity name so I can look at the folder name. All right, cool. So now close this, close. We'll use a setup process folder, setup process. Setup process folder. Boom. All right, cool. So now we got the parent folder. I'm gonna click in the folder tree. We're gonna go all checkbox fun. We're gonna grab the data folder, store it in there, use extension data. We're gonna grab checkbox fun. Boom, got checkbox fun. Build some data. We will do input mapping and we will pass in all of the yellow checkbox, check red, checkbox blue, and then checkbox A, check B, and check C. All right, cool. So now we're storing all that. For this, I'm gonna say view completed form check test. Okay. All right, cool. So now what I'm going to do is if I run this, I should get a record, and I think all the data is filled out. Yeah, all the data is filled out. So now if I run this, I will get a record. We're going to click B button. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my pages, create a form page, my page, and we're going to use the report viewer, pick report, pick existing, text box over this, save, and then I'm going to add this page to the dashboard so I can see slash dashboard. I think it's that one. I think it's my page. I'm not sure. Let's check. Dashboard. Hey, okay, cool. So now I should have an assignment with this. I do. Okay, so let's do it. Do it. All right, so if I do this, click button. Okay, so now it's done. Now if I go inside of this thing, I can see view completed form. So I can see it. It's just horribly colored. What version are you running? Do you happen to know?
8.12.
8.12. What version? I'm on 8.17. Could be a version difference. Or admittedly, this let's see. Like you can still see it. It's just very like it's horrible because it's like it blends in with the disabled stuff. So maybe with some CSS, you can change the coloring of this to where you could still see it. There might be something that a support could do. So what I would do is I would actually email support ticket and just ask them to see if this is a version issue. Or if it isn't and you can see this, then it's we can craft some CSS and just say, hey, make this. Let's see, what would that class be? Let me find that out. That would be, no, I don't want JSON formatter. Hit this thing. There we go. No, that's not what I wanted. Close this. It's over. Hold on a second. Then I want to pick. So this would be, I think it's like this is the control. I don't know if it's like disable overlay or something. And it may be something we have to craft. Because this is their own individual box. Oh, because yeah, it is. It's not a radio button list. I'm getting this confused. Yeah, so what you can do is you can change to the disable overlay. Like I'm sure there's like a color. What is it? There's probably a color hex code you can put in, and then you can apply the CSS there so that the disable overlay is different, and you can actually see it better. That's probably what we would do, but anytime you use CSS, that's always like a last resort thing. There's probably a better way that support could probably talk to you about. But all else fails, you could just change the color of the overlay via CSS. But yeah.
One last thing, Jared.
Yeah.
When you were running your flow, so for example, if you go back to the flow where you had the form, if you do
Sure.
A and B, so they stay selected. Because I'm building it on my end, they can. So if, for example, even if I unselected, the other part stays selected. Is that because like of the triggers?
Yep, because I don't have the logic to do the other part, right? Because so like a great way to show this is I have this configured on my project scaffolding thing that I created. So like for example, right, if I run this And let's say, hey, I want to create this, new project for Mano, right? And I want to select
Mhm.
all this. And I say, you know what, never mind. I don't really want all of this. I want to uncheck this. And then it removes it all, right?
Mhm.
And I just didn't build that removal logic. I can show you what that is. So like in this active form flow I have here, select all value. I just determine if the value is true, right? So it triggers it. If the value is true, then I enable. Then I say, hey, so, enable all of them. If the value becomes false after the trigger, then I say unselect everything. And this is the logic I don't have to where it actually turns off that selection.
But for this case, it will turn off, it will unselect all of them, right? But if I
Correct.
want just one of them,
You can
so
do
I
that
will
as
have to
well.
have like multiple 10 rules. Say, for example, if I have like 15 checkboxes, I will have to create a rule for each of them.
So for a rule for each of them to
Because
turn it
if,
off.
yeah,
Go
because
ahead.
like checkbox A is selected, then I do
hmm
only want red and blue. But if I'm like, oh, I didn't want it to select checkbox A,
hmm Well, that's where I would do like instead of like adding all of this rules, I would just create a subflow with this logic, and then you call it for each parts that you want, and then you can adapt it. Only on the areas that needed an adaptation. So you can build it once for it, and then tie it that way. I mean, I can show you how I do that if you like.
that would be great if on
Sure,
the
I don't
other
mind.
one. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm just
no,
building
that's
it here
perfect.
and I want
Yeah,
to make
that's what this
sure.
is for. All right, so let's walk through the logic. Yeah, because I'm sure there's some other things I need to be aware of. All right, so if I have this, let's see. So let's see if it's true. Let's go back to form flow. Just match. All right, so if this is true, so what I would do is I'd probably just create the logic. Let's see. So we have this here. Let me move this here. All right, so I got checkbox B. That changes both of those. And then, yeah, so what I would do, just to make it easier, is let's say, I'm actually going to open up another. Can I make this? Oh, no, I can't. So what I would do is I would say, hey, let's just make a couple flows. So this is going to be I'm going to say this is the form and form checkbox enable disable logic. And so I would just create, all right, we're gonna get a value is true. Value is true rule, right? And this is where I'm gonna say, let's do, and here what we're gonna do is we're gonna take in, let's see, I'm trying to think of where we go. So we got that part. We're gonna take value is true. We got the Boolean value. I don't think I need the Boolean value, but I do need it to know for both. Oh, okay, so now we'll just add that. Okay, so I'm gonna save this because there's a easy way I can design this. I'm gonna go back to this one. I'm actually gonna call form checkbox enable disable. Form checkbox enable disable. And so what I would do is I'll put this here, right? And then what I would do is I would say, hey, let's grab, I want to copy, I just want to copy. I don't want to save it as a template. I'm gonna say, oh wait, Control C. Then I'm gonna edit this, Control V. Haha, now it's in here. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, if it's true, we shall enable, and then if it's false, we shall disable. Perfect. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll actually output this Boolean values. I'm not gonna change value because I can't because of where I'm at in the process. Put this here, let's output. This probably will take an input. And this is gonna take an input of checkbox a bool val. That's gonna be my variable. And then I'll say this is Boolean, check this. And then I'm gonna say it's gonna determine that from the Boolean value that I pass in. And then if this is false, then I'll both output bool values. So I should just output bool value here. So that'll be fine. And then after I save this, I can close this. And really, I could just check any bool value. Yeah, I shouldn't. I'm gonna rename this input because it could be generic. I could just say check bool value. Check bool val for this part, and then select check bool val. And so then I can get this one. All right, cool. And then I grab, in this case, since I'm on check bool value here, I output this. And then all I have to do is output form data. And then I think I had this on blue, checkbox value, checkbox bool value. I think that's right. Yep. Checkbox blue. All right. So now I believe, let's test this out. I think I have that logic correct. So now it should be able to where I can flip it on and off for that one. So let's go ahead and run this. If I do this, boom, boom. There you go. So that's how you do it for that one. And then you can, what I would do is I would copy that logic of that subflow and then add it for as many Boolean values you need. Probably, I would, maybe you want to, if you're going to have a lot of these, I would say why not a checkbox list? Because then you can grab the property of that list that you want and change it.
See, that's what I did in the beginning, but I made so many changes that I give up on the checkbox list and then I came on the
Mhm.
checkbox. But I think it just makes it more easier with like a separate checkboxes because the way they wanted to format, they didn't want it like
Mhm.
I don't know, it's the
Oh,
business
okay.
users. So this
Gotcha.
helps a
No
lot.
worries.
Thank you. And
Okay.
then you said like if I need it for like, for example, 8, I'll just copy the same subflow. Well, no, I'll just build like 8 subflows with the different values.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, for example, because I think you said if it was checkbox B, it's got to have this, right?
Hmm.
And so, and that's where I said it's like if you have an n number of like items, like there's a way. Maybe if I could, I'm trying to think, there's a way you can make this scalable where you can just say, hey, take in a checkbox value, and for each number of like just determine if it's true. I mean, there's probably a scalable way. Hold on a second. There's
Oh,
a
the set
scalable.
control value? That's what I
Nah,
used.
you
Set
could,
control value.
but what I would say is I think the hard part would be determine the properties. Well, I think the hardest part would be determining the properties. What I was thinking of is like scalable set, flip flag, set flip flag. It's like you can take in, depending on, I guess, the checkbox that was clicked, you can take a list of those things, and depending on which one was clicked, you could say like, hey, for each, um, we can do like for each checkbox. That's what I was saying. Maybe it's a user like if we can grab a list of those Boolean values, you can add that into a list and just say for each of those, and you could say which ones are true, and then you can filter out the true ones, and then you could say, okay, for each of those, then you have like a looping logic that says if this is true, then go to this subflow if this is true. So basically, you'd have like a runtime selection, is what I would say, and then you can dynamically pick which flow needs to run to turn on which flags and turn off which flags.
Gotcha. And I was just looking at, I didn't use checkbox list because when I was doing set control value, it needs
Mm-hmm.
checkbox list have one data name. So it
Mm-hmm.
was confusing it like, and it was selecting all of the values, at least in my case with the
Mm-hmm.
checkbox list. But when I did with the checkbox, it did it in like separate ways, but it just wasn't
Mm-hmm.
showing how's yours showing now. So this helps a lot. So just build a data flow,
Mm-hmm.
active data flow, and then do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think what was it? Oh, there's something you said that made me think of this. Yeah, what I was talking about is you can build that list like afterwards. Like you can say, hey, add item to list. And like so you don't have to use a radio button list. You can just say, hey, I want to grab these list of Booleans and then process it through. And do it that way.
Got it. This
Hmm.
helps a lot. Thank you so much,
Good.
Jared. I'm building
My
it and it
pleasure.
actually is working now in front of me too. So I'm like, yes, I got it.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Good.
much.
My pleasure. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else got any questions? Jeremy, you got any questions? There's no more questions. I'm going to go ahead and we'll end this lunch and learn. I'll see you guys tomorrow, Tuesday, February 20th. If you have any questions at that time, feel free to join and I'll answer any questions to the best of my ability. With that being said, everyone have a great rest of your day.